Hello, welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast. This emergency podcast is brought to you by Indeed. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. That's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Welcome into this emergency CHGO White Sox podcast. Make sure you are thumbsing this video up. You're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. If you are new here, we have a diehard program where you get to chat with all of us in a Discord channel, and you get to read and react and wait in anticipation for hours upon hours for Chris Getz to finally make his first trade. And we have the first trade coming in from, I think, Ken Rosenthal and Katie Wu first. Daryl Van Schouwen was also a part of it. It's just been a mess. Bob Nightingale also has some of the finishing packages. We think the current trade looks as such. The Dodgers will be acquiring Tommy Edman from the St. Louis Cardinals and Michael Kopech from the Chicago White Sox. The St. Louis Cardinals will be acquiring Erick Fedde from the Chicago White Sox
and
Chicago.
And Tommy Pham, reportedly.
Oh, and Tommy Pham reunion. I did not see that. Okay, so and Tommy Pham. So
this is literally all happening right now.
Yes, and then per Nightingale, Dodgers are sending prospects Joral Perez, Noah Miller, and Alexander Albertus to the White Sox. So I don't even know.
Along with Miguel Vargas, who's on the Dodgers right now. Yeah.
The man in the middle is Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer, who is currently on Twitter, thankfully updating us. And the man in the far corner is Jared Willis. You can follow him at J Willis on X, Y's instead of I's. He covers both the Sox and Cubs. They'll both be at the ballpark later today, so make sure you're following them on X for any updates from the ballpark, whether if Chris Getz speaks about this trade or all the other trades that possibly could happen. All right, let's get the first reactions to this piecemeal of a trade that's currently going in. Finally, we have a deal going on. We haven't heard mention of a Jordan Walker. I think that was the big thing that was holding this up. We heard this yesterday, leaking out a little bit from Ari Alexander, Katie Wu, and Ken Rosenthal, that there was a 3-team trade being in talks. Now we're finally seeing this come to fruition. We haven't seen Jordan Walker's name just yet, but we're seeing some prospects go to the Sox. What do we make of this trade so far?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing that I kind of was thinking of this morning before this broke was, hey, if a Garrett Crochet trade is getting to seem more and more unlikely, if a Luis Robert Jr. trade has kind of always seemed a little unlikely, given the asking prices on both of those players, plus some other stuff going on with Crochet, this then, Erick Fedde, is kind of the White Sox big chance, right, to make something of this deadline. And now maybe you're seeing with them throwing Kopech and Pham reportedly. All of this is reportedly. Put reportedly in front of everything I say. Throwing those guys in there too. This is the blockbuster trade, it would seem to me. Obviously, there's plenty of time before the deadline. Certainly, Crochet could go if a team wants to meet his demands. Certainly, Robert could go if a team wants to pony up what the White Sox are looking for. But this seems to be the prospect haul. Certainly, the parts of it that we know about right now from the tweets that we're seeing are all from the Dodgers side. The headliner there being Miguel Vargas, currently on the Dodgers, a very versatile young player. He's about 24, I think, 23, 24 years old. The hitting numbers at the major league level have not been overly impressive, but he killed it at AAA this year. Last year, before the season started, he was the third-ranked prospect that the Dodgers had. And so he is somebody, obviously, who has been well thought of when he was part of their farm system. He's just getting his first taste of the major league, or first tastes of the major leagues over the last couple of years. I think he's played 30 games this year, mostly in left field, but he's an infielder as well. So a lot of versatility there, known for the bat, but certainly the big offensive numbers have come in the minor leagues, not yet in the major leagues, but he's probably the headliner of what we've seen there. The other 3 guys that Bob Nightingale mentioned as being part of the return package all are currently ranked within the top 30 prospects that the Dodgers have, according to MLB.com. And I believe the top one is Mr. Perez, Joral Perez, at number 17.
And I do just want to butt in. Thank you for clarifying the difference between Miguel Vargas and Miguel Rojas. I've been listening to some Jazz Chisholm stuff recently. So Miguel Rojas, who is also a Dodger, is on my mind. So I'm glad they're getting the 24-year-old and not the 35-year-old. So let's go. I'm glad that's been cleared up for me. Jared, what do you make of this trade?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about just the Fedde aspect of this, because from a White Sox perspective, you are getting exactly what they hoped they would get when they took a flyer on him in the offseason. You know, he spent that year in Korea, really looked like he had turned things around. And then the results through, up to the All-Star break and even in his first start afterward, the changes look legit. And so for the White Sox, this is exactly what you want. You get this guy, he has a chance to demonstrate that he's improved, he's made some changes, he's developed as a pitcher. You get a team that's going to help get you some prospects in return for him. So this is, from that perspective, I think this is a great move for the White Sox because they are getting quite a haul back. And he's really a driving force to do that because if things had not worked out with Fedde the way that they have, and let's say he, is just a decent pitcher in the first half, then the big pitching trading piece that the White Sox ended up having just isn't there because the Crochet could still get traded, but I think there's a lot more in the way of that happening than there was with Fedde. So for Chris Getz in his front office, you really kind of have to look at this and say, mission accomplished here. We took a flyer on the guy, and we're getting what we hoped we would.
Absolutely. I should unmute my mic. I see a lot of people saying that this feels underwhelming so far, but I don't think that we've seen the full settled trade. I do see that Russell Dorsey saying the full trade is Cardinals get Fedde and Pham, Dodgers get Edman, Kopech, White Sox get Vargas, Miller, Perez, and Albertus. If that is the full trade, I think it does feel a little underwhelming. Again, just going back, I know you scoffed a little bit there, Vinny, at the Jordan Walker.
Who's watching this and knows who any of those people are? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, right, but people know who Jordan Walker is, and so that's why I'm bringing up Jordan Walker. There were rumors that Jordan Walker was supposed to be the guy that Chris Getz was trying to get for, and it seems like now the time of the trade deadline, now that it approaches on Tuesday at 5 p.m., he might have went away from his top guy. So maybe this is why it feels a little bit underwhelming because people think that at least looking at the headliner, if you're comparing Vargas to Walker, it does feel like Walker, who's 6'4", is a lot more impressive or seems like he has a lot more potential compared to the smaller Vargas who really doesn't have a position just yet.
Of course, but the Cardinals didn't want to trade Jordan Walker.
Absolutely,
right?
No.
I mean, I want $1 million, but if nobody's going to give it to me, then what I get is obviously less than that. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. I guess my point is saying that I make that face because we're just finding out who these guys are for the first time. Unless you're a big time prospect nerd and you're following all that stuff really closely, we're looking at prospect rankings. That's our first blush, and then we can dive into some numbers as time goes on. Right? I think what I would say to that point, though, is in terms of this being underwhelming, is 4 guys for 3 guys, right? And Michael Kopech is your closer. Erick Fedde is an all-star caliber pitcher. And, Tommy Pham's the guy that you got, you would have taken a lottery ticket for him, I'm sure, at this point. But those 2 pitchers who are involved in that deal, either very good or a lot of potential still to be a big-time impact pitcher on any team. And so I get the idea of looking at 3 major leaguers going away and saying only 4 prospects kind of thing. Sure. But let's find out who these guys are first. I think Vargas is a pretty big headliner in terms that this is a guy who 2 years ago, a top 3 prospect in a very highly ranked system. I know that Dodger system has slipped a little bit as time has gone on, but they traded all those guys to get other guys, certainly. So, listen, Jordan Walker would have been a nice get for the White Sox, but to assume that he's what is going to be on the other end of the trade because the language said they tried to get him is wrong, right? They tried to get him and the Cardinals said no. And so if you're going to judge it based on going to the Cardinals page and saying, okay, who's at the top of this list? Let's get that guy, and anything less than the top is not what I want. That's a pretty high standard to hold any trade to by any team. So we're not going to know we're not going to know how good Chris Getz did for a while because a lot of these guys are really young. But you're getting 1 major league ready player back already to put. I don't know where, but either in the infield or the outfield. I guess we'll find out. But that this is interesting in that it is that 3 for 4. And if you would have carved up that package, right, of Fedde, Kopech, and Pham into 3 separate trades, you probably would have expected to get more than 4 players back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where it feels a little flat. Just to update the people on the actual prospects, Gerald Perez is from the Dodgers organization. He's a third baseman, 6'1", 6 feet tall, about 180, and he's 19 years old. He is at A-ball right now. The numbers look a little bit difficult. They also look different on two different sites. So he's either hitting an OPS of 800, according to MLB, or he is hitting his OPS is 680, according to Baseball Reference. So Gerald Perez is either doing great at single A or he's doing below average. Noah Miller is a 5'11" switch hitting shortstop / second baseman middle infielder. He was a what is the round after
compensatory?
Thank you for the Twins back in 2021. He was a 36 overall pick. He was traded this offseason to the Dodgers. He was a part of the Manuel Margot flip. And so now Noah Miller a part of this trade. And then Alexander Albertus from Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you. He's a righty, 6'1", about 180 as well, playing third base, but also middle infield. Sorry, I was flipping up Gerald's and this guy's pages. So Alexander is 19. He's currently at A-ball in 19 games. He's got a 646 OPS. And then Perez, who is also in A-ball, his numbers look a lot better, 800 OPS. Again, this is the first time we are being introduced to these players. So do I have a huge take on Noah Miller, Alexander Albertus, or Gerald Perez? No, but I guess
the take you can have on Noah Miller is that you don't need to think about him anymore because Jeff Passan says he's not in the trade.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter.
So, all right, we have no idea what this trade looks like. Emergency, we need somebody, please God, to tell us what this trade is.
People are right to be questioning why Tommy Edman is apparently the only thing the Cardinals are giving up in this trade, because he hasn't even played this season. He's hurt. So there has to be more to this.
Right. There's more going somewhere, and I would imagine to the White Sox if they are sending both Fedde and Tommy Pham to St. Louis. There are more names that are going to come out that probably aren't out yet. So I think for some who are looking at this and saying, "Oh, Getz got fleeced" or whatever, or the return is light, it doesn't look like we know the full return yet.
No, it feels like they might take their time all the way to 5 p.m. on Tuesday to figure out this three-team trade. Drake Foss saying Noah Miller, White Sox, July 29th, 2024 to July 29th, 2024. It was a short run. And also Luke McDowell, River Ryan was thrown out on Twitter. I think a Dodgers-specific platform threw that out there, but that has since been deleted. So no River Ryan, but we don't know what this trade looks like now. So I guess that's why I keep going back to Jordan Walker, because if that was the apple of his eye, the Cardinals not giving up anything apparently in this trade, it seems like Jordan Walker might be somebody of consequence. So I don't know. We'll keep monitoring this. To update people though on Vargas, I did see something that people were misinterpreting. So if you go to Spot Rack, you can see that he's making $500,000 this year, and then in 2025 and 2026 he's pre-ARB. So that doesn't mean he's a UFA after 2027. He only has 0.142 amount of service time. So the White Sox have 5 years, 5.9 years of control of Vargas. So Vargas will have a lot of time for the White Sox. This is a player that will play, if they keep him until his 30s with the White Sox, if he doesn't, flail out. But this is a guy that does have control and would be a part of a 6-year future if that's what Chris Getz is trying to build right now. So just to clarify, he does have control past that. Does he have a lot of power? I don't know. I don't know if it's the most exciting headliner. He's got a pretty decent chase rate and whiff rate, but you look at the actual underlying metrics of how hard he hits the ball, how fast he swings, kind of a slower swinger, doesn't even have that decent amount of sweet spot or squared up. So even though he swings the bat lightly, I don't know if he makes the best of contact. So I don't love the player, but again, he's 24 years old. Is this correct? No. So Nick K saying that in the comments, that is not correct. So I've never done a trade reaction where we actually don't have the trade in front of us. I guess the one thing that is disappointing, if this is the real thing, Pham and Fedde being combined, and then also Kopech being a part of this. I guess it's the issue with dealing three teams here. But I do feel, and Vinny, you kind of made the point. It does feel a little short-sighted by Getz maybe to include all of these players together. We also don't know what the full trade package is.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to make a instant judgment until we have something a little bit more concrete. But I'll say this. Look, we were expecting a lot of players to get dealt at this deadline. And up until, right now, there hasn't really been much in the way of action at all. Or rumors around anybody other than, so-and-so's interested in Crochet, so-and-so's interested in Fedde. But here you go. Here's 3 guys reportedly being dealt in, and while it's only in one move, that's a big chunk of the guys that we were talking about being candidates to be moved. So the idea that we were talking about yesterday, Sean, on yesterday's postgame show, that Getz is not going to be able to cash in at this deadline at all, kind of goes out the window with that idea. There's some control obviously on Fedde and Kopech, and you would think that would jack up the return a little bit. But maybe we're seeing a market in which the White Sox players were not valued quite as highly by the rest of baseball as they were by either the White Sox or us thinking about it. Right. So I thought that would be the case with Crochet and Robert, but maybe it's been the case with a lot of these other guys too, because I don't think that past Fedde and those other 2 I just mentioned, that we were going to see a big return really for anybody. So if this is kind of the big return for like Fedde plus, so to speak, maybe that's it. But I don't know how much you were going to get in a trade for just Kopech or a trade for certainly just Pham, because he's on a deal that's going to run out. Kopech at least has 1 more year of control left.
And just to add on from the Dodgers side of this, Baseball America released their top 30 prospects for each team at the mid-season point around July 10th. If you look at that list, Alexander Abertis, who is reportedly in this deal, again, reportedly is going to be doing a lot of carrying during this show. Alexander Abertis is the 15th prospect in the Dodger system, and at 17th is Jarrell Perez, the 3rd baseman. There is no listing of Noel Miller, the shortstop, in the top 30, but I guess that's good because he's not a part of the deal. So great job, Chris.
Reportedly, Sean.
Reportedly. All of this is just reportedly. Let's take a break and maybe the dust will settle. Why don't you just crack open a Leinenkugel, because you might be here for a while. The weather is warm. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I'm hot and sweaty. A beer would cool me down. And just any beer wouldn't cool me down. You want something right, refreshing, and flavorful. Leinenkugel has a flavor for every summer moment, like when Erick Fedde is reportedly traded, like a summer shandy with the natural lemonade flavor, or the lakeside cherry with real cherry juice. They're the perfect companion for the great outdoors, the great American pastime, or a great night with friends. Vinny and Jared are headed over the ballpark. They can go chill at the Liney Lounge. Maybe Chris Getz isn't going to be speaking. Maybe they got some time to kill. You go over and get a summer shandy. Loosen up before the White Sox lose their 15th straight game. And relax with summer shandy, lakeside cherry, grapefruit shandy, honey light, lemon light. You also have the sunset wheat as well, or the juicy peach that our guy Herb likes to drink. So go check out our friends over at Leinenkugel. Flavor every summer moment with Leinenkugel, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to LEINIE.com/CHGO. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you, or pick up Leinenkugel's pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Leinenkugel's, flavor the moment, celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. All right. We also want to let you know about our friends at Shady Rays. It's not sunny out yet. It will be sunny once they play at 7 p.m. So get ready for the season ahead and the sun ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And they probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. So shout out to Alexander Albertis. Just go over to Shady Rays and get some black sunglasses, and you'll be matching your uniform of the future. Reportedly. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. If you don't love your shades, you could exchange them for a new pair, return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with our friends at Shady Rays. Shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. All right, let's talk about the framework of this deal, because again, we don't know what this deal looks like. And hi, Herb Lawrence.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Good. You can follow him at Eckerwall23. Herb, we have no idea what this trade is, so we'll get your reaction on the framework of this trade. We see, at least with Albertus, Perez, reportedly not Noel Miller, and then along with Vargas, all of those position players. So I think that's the big thing. At least looking at this trade, we saw a lot of pitching draft picks in the recent draft, the 2024 draft. I think a lot of people were like, well, where are the position players? If they are acquiring 4 position players under 24, I think that's at least a all right haul. It might not be the players you desperately want, but reportedly they have 4 new position players under the age of 24.
I mean, it's underwhelming. I've been listening to you and watch you guys while I've been walking back, and it's very underwhelming. The reported return, and it's not final, so there could be more people, but what has come back is not very exciting. And the fact that you sent 3 players away, and I heard you say it, Vinny, 3 players away and 4, maybe 5 players you're going to get back, and none of them, to me, sound like a guy like, oh, yeah, we got that guy for Erick Fedde. Like, if you would have just sent Erick Fedde 1-for-1 for a player that maybe make it to the major leagues eventually, cool. Most of these players are years away. I know Vargas plays in the major leagues, but years away from major league action. And so there's a bunch of lottery tickets that you scratch off and maybe they'll hit. But that's the problem when you send multiple people in a trade. Instead of getting the true value of Erick Fedde, you get what I think underwhelming value because you added 2 other players in Kopech and Pham to the deal.
And just to add on, Bob Nightingale does have reportedly the final deal. I don't know if this is official because it's very similar to what we have been referring to, but Dodgers receive Edman and Michael Kopech. Cardinals receive Erick Fedde and Tommy Pham. White Sox receive Miguel Vargas and prospects Alexander Albertus, Joral Perez, and potentially a fringe prospect. So can we talk about what the Cardinals are giving up here? They give up Tommy Edman, and that's about it. And they're acquiring Erick Fedde and Tommy Pham for nothing.
That's what's I still think, I know that it's being reported as this is the full deal, but I have a hard time believing that that's all the Cardinals are giving up. And they're essentially, they're getting 2 players in return. Pham is second half rental type as they're kind of making a shot at the wild card. But Fedde, I think he potentially can benefit that team beyond just this season. So that's what surprises me, is that this is all that there's got to, whether it's money or it's something, there's more to this deal. There may not be other players, and that could be the thing that White Sox fans will find disappointing, I think. But there's got to be more than just Edman, and then for them to get those 2 guys back, that really feels like there's something missing. And like you said, Sean, until the teams have sent out press releases saying this deal is official, we could be 24 hours from now still finding out what else is a part of this.
Yeah, I mean, from Yahoo just following up and confirming Bob's report that Noel Miller is not a part of this deal, but Albertus, Perez, and Vargas are. So again, no add-ons from the Cardinals yet.
I mean, listen, this addressed some pretty big needs for these other 2 teams. Obviously, Michael Kopech has been up and down, as Sox fans know, all year long in terms of that closer, role. But the Dodgers really could use some back end help in their bullpen. Their entire pitching staff really is a little mysterious at the moment, and so they could use more. But certainly in the bullpen, that's helpful for them. And then Fedde going to the Cardinals. I mean, Jared, you said he could potentially help them past this year. He's under contract for next year. He will help them next year unless they decide they don't want him all of a sudden for whatever reason. But this is a guy who's going to be, if he continues the level of production that he has had with the White Sox, going to be near or at the top of their starting rotation for not just this year, but next year as well. Obviously, they got Sonny Gray down there, who's been a very good pitcher for a very long time in baseball. But the Cardinals got a good get here in Erick Fedde, and that's why I think that it's pretty hard for folks to believe that all they had to give up was an injured Tommy Edman, who, again, no slouch. He's a good player, and the Dodgers certainly got something that they needed in getting an outfielder and a position player to help them out. This is a guy who's won a Gold Glove, but Erick Fedde should have been an all-star this year. And to trade away an all-star caliber pitcher, maybe the White Sox are really happy with these prospects that they've got. If you include Vargas in that deal, and I think AJ made a really good point that if Vargas was still a prospect instead of a guy who's just getting his feet wet in the major leagues, and he would have been the number X prospect in the Dodgers system, this would look a little different if you could assign that number to him, like we are doing with the other guys that we're hearing about. So I do think there's that, but I go back to the fact that Fedde has been that good this year to warrant a return that should make people, go, ooh, all right. And while the White Sox might feel that way, if this is the three guys or the 3 or 4 guys that they're going to get, the White Sox might feel that way. But I think fans don't feel that way, probably because you're not seeing a single digit number in terms of the Dodgers number X prospect, right?
Yeah. And again, like it's not even, they're barely top 15 according to Baseball America, who has updated these. Albertus 15th and Perez 17th. And then you're throwing in possibly the Vargas, who I think would be top 5-ish for them. I mean, it does feel light because they're giving up 3 players. And again, like I feel very odd being the host of this show 25 minutes in and just still not understanding if we can talk about this trade fully. It seems, again, to just hammer this home, the Cardinals have to be giving up something, because it's, even if it's money, like the whole part of Fedde was he was $7.5 million this year, $7.5 million next year. Like it's not even that much money where the White Sox, I think, would be able to flip or be able to just not even take a top 10 prospect or top 15 prospect for Erick Fedde at all. I know Vargas possibly could be and was top 37, but he's not any longer. Like there is no true,
but that's good. But that's good, right? I mean, the idea is he's in the major leagues. He's playing Major League Baseball. I mean, he's not a top 40 prospect because he's not a minor leaguer, right? Like,
yeah, but I mean, like,
what's the difference?
Well, he hasn't been that good in the major leagues. And then also you look at the Dodgers too, the Dodgers who would love young, cheap, controllable infielders, especially after you just paid $700 million to Ohtani. Like, you'd think that would be a player they would covet in a way, and giving him up for Kopech, who's a reclamation project, and Edman, who might not even be healthy. I just don't get this trade.
No, and so think about
this
at
is
the time,
good radio.
Like, it was like at the time, right before Fedde got traded, he was the best starter on the market, right? Do we all agree on that?
I mean, it depends. I think Crochet would be better. Skubal would be better, but yeah. I mean, maybe the guy most realistically acquired, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, and so you would think that guy alone would get you better than Miguel Vargas, right? Like, I'm just by himself, and I know Miguel Vargas is a Dodger prospect, and so yeah, the Cardinals part of this is the puzzling part, where they get 2 players that are going to help them a lot, and Tommy Pham, former Cardinal, and Erick Fedde, and they gave up Tommy Edman, who didn't help them at all because he was hurt. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm putting my mind around it. If this is the final product, no, absolutely not. This is not great.
Like, here's a.
Can I add on just real quick? Bruce please. Levine reporting White Sox biggest hole is.
That doesn't seem right.
Is it?
It's just an infielder with the same name, Vargas. Everybody else.
No, but there's a guy who's the 8th prospect for the Dodgers, who is Joendy Vargas. That is a real person.
Correct. I understand. But
so is he saying that it's the other?
I would wait and see.
You're just thinking he's getting.
I don't want people confusing their Vargases if that's what's actually happening. So we'll wait and see. Maybe
they could have gotten 2 Vargases.
Maybe they got a double Vargas.
Double Vargas.
The classic double Vargas.
The classic double Vargas. What I'll say about Miguel Vargas is this, which is, Herb, tell me how you'd think. What would your reaction be if the White Sox traded Erick Fedde for Dalton Rushing, who is the Dodgers' #1 prospect, number 46 in baseball? How would you feel about that?
I'd feel really good because
well, they just traded for the guy who was the number 37 prospect last year.
Yeah, but he has played Major League Baseball, and to varying degrees, he might be just another 4A player. He might be who's the guy we got, the Leaning Sosa type of guy, where he's bat no glove, and I would rather have upside with 6-7 years to go instead of a guy that's already played in the major leagues that, to varying degrees, has shown that he's more probably a 4A player.
That's tough. That's a tough grading rubric there, Herb. I got to be honest with you.
It's a very tough position for Vargas too. Hey, come up and make your MLB debut. Playing in the infield on the best team in Major League Baseball.
What better team to do it?
Well, I
There's no
guess.
better
I mean,
team
it's
to
also
do
only
it.
been 374 plate appearances or at bats. I mean, it's not like it's a massive undertaking too. And also in this last 71 at bats, he's got a 108 OPS plus. So I mean, it's not like he's dead in the water. He's 24 years old. He's got his whole life ahead of him. So I guess like I can't sour on. I can't really build up my opinion on the trade. We don't know what the trade is. If Vargas is the headliner, it's interesting, but I think they need more than the reported Albertus and who's the other kid, Perez. If they are getting the double Vargas and they have Miguel and Joe Endry, then I'd be totally down with that, because then you're getting a top 10 prospect. You're getting Vargas, who was formerly a top 5 prospect for them, and you're getting 2 top 20 prospects. So, I mean, 4 top 20 prospects from the Dodgers, that makes a lot more sense there. So if Joe Endry's a part of this and Miguel is a part of this, then great. But right now, if it sits for just these 3, then it's not great.
As exciting as the potential double Vargas was, it looks like Bruce Levine has deleted the Joe Endry Vargas tweet. So the double Vargas dream was short-lived.
Right.
So and it could be that he's still getting information or whatever, but yeah, that tweet is now gone. So
we all are getting information. So we will provide more information after we take a quick ad break. We'll let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. They are here to elevate your summer. If you're feeling down about the White Sox trade haul for Erick Fedde, Michael Kopech, and Tommy Pham, well, Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, and they have a crazy selection to cheer you up with over 100 different strains from indicas, sativas, hybrids, indica hybrids, sativa hybrids to choose from, with online ordering and in-store pickup. And wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. So stop into the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff, or select from quality lines like Cresco or FloraCal. And here for the summer is Good News is Tea Time disposable vape, bringing a classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course, because we all need a little help staying loose on the green. We're going to go pick up whatever we want at Sunnyside, and we're going to make sure we use the code HICHGO to get 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Go visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including, again, 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about ourselves, CHGO. We talked about golf there. We have a fun golf tournament coming up. You can join us at Cog Hill, the second course of Cog Hill, on August 23rd for our second annual Kickoff Classic. It's presented by Circus Sports Illinois, Coors Light, Shady Rays, and Seltz Up. You could sign up as an individual, a twosome, or a foursome, and the packages include 18 holes and a cart, tee gifts for every player, limited CHGO Pins and Aces golf polo available for purchase, giveaways and prizes for the winning teams, and on-course contests, lunch, drinks, and ceremony after the round. You can hang with your favorite CHGO personalities. You can sponsor some of the holes as well. There's sponsorship opportunities available, and you can go to allchgo.com/events to sign up. And also, we have another event over at allchgo.com. You could take place with us on August 9th. Is it the 9th? This says the 8th, and I think that's wrong. It's the 9th, August 9th, where the Cubs and Sox will be taking place. We'll meet up before the game over at Turtles. You can meet the CHGO White Sox crew and catch the crosstown rivalry before capping the night off with fireworks. So go get your tickets over at allchgo.com. Diehards get 20% off. All right. Read
Herb,
the ad reads.
You ready, Herb?
More trade proposals.
No. These are normal trade proposals. I'm just he made a comp, and I'm ready to give it to him. Miguel Vargas this year in 13 games, 30 games at the major league level, 108 OPS plus. He's an above average major league hitter. You said, man, he might just be Quade. He might just be Lenyn Sosa. Lenyn Sosa, 52 games at the major league level this year, 76 OPS plus. So
let's go.
It still might be Lenyn Sosa.
That's your reaction, though, to a guy who's actually got an above average stats in the major leagues, is calling him a guy who has never done anything in the major leagues?
I mean,
I get it from Herb. I mean, again, he hasn't proven himself. It's probably tough to prove yourself on a Dodgers team. Well, he doesn't have the same amount of rope that Lenyn Sosa has gotten on a bad White Sox team compared to a very good Dodgers team. And he seems athletic. He's 24. 75 percentile sprint speed. His arm strength is 87 percentile. It doesn't feel like he has a actual position to play, though. He's been a negative defensive run value in every single season that he's played at. He's played first base both in 2022 and 2023. He's played a lot of second base in 2023, 614 innings played there. He's played an inning at third base, and then he's also played some left field, mainly left field this year, 166 innings, and he's been negative 1 run value there. Also played 46 innings in 2022 in left field. I don't think he's I don't know where he plays. I guess that's the bigger concern is the bat and the pop doesn't seem to be there. He seems to be athletic, so maybe he just needs time to really flesh that out. He needs a full 600 at-bats to really understand Major League Baseball, and he will be getting that with the Chicago White Sox, but I don't know where he's going to play. I mean, who's the White Sox starting shortstop? Does Miguel Vargas play shortstop, even though he's been terrible at second base? Do they just say, hey, you're athletic enough, let's try you, you're 24 years old, we'll give you 2 months to play shortstop? Does he become their second baseman? We've seen Brooks Baldwin there, but obviously, Brooks has played shortstop before. Do they flip Vargas and Baldwin? Do they put him at third base? Where do we even see Vargas fitting into this White Sox defensive team?
I think that's kind of the...
Go ahead, Jared.
That's kind of the beauty of it, though, right now, in a way, is they don't need to sort that out exactly anytime soon. They've got the ability, at least on like all three of those middle infield positions, second, short, and third, give him looks in August and September of this year, and give him consistent at bats that maybe he wasn't necessarily getting with the Dodgers, so that you can see where the bat's at, but also, test him out at some of those infield spots, because as we know, Yohan Moncada doesn't necessarily look like, there's still going to be some time there. So there's going to be opportunities at third, and short and second are certainly not locked down by any stretch. So I think what I would do if I'm them is run him out at all three of those positions for some stretches and see what you've got, at least defensively. I know I like the potential outfield option too, maybe in left field, but then of course there's, the Benintendi question. So that's why I think for now, at least, I'd stick to, let's see what you can do in the infield.
I mean, he can't field, right? He's not a plus fielder, but we'll hear about the versatility. He can play a bunch of positions. I don't really want to care about, you can play a bunch of positions if you play him poorly, mostly in the major leagues. And his OPS plus is 80 for his career. Yes, he's had a good this year in 30 games that he's played, but I can't get excited about a player that can't get on the field that much. And when he does, his last 2 years, he didn't produce. So, yeah, he might be something eventually. 24 years old, athletic, great, all that stuff. But no great shakes. This guy he's a middle infielder that we don't know where he's going to play. Like if this guy was, hey, he's the future and he was going to play second base for the Dodgers, if only, et cetera, then I would like looking into it. But the Dodgers don't want him. The Dodgers gave up on him and said this was it. This was enough. And all they got was a hurt Tommy Edman for him. So,
hey, and Michael Kopech, who's going to be starting for them in 2025.
And a bad Michael Kopech, who they'll fix.
He's not bad. He's on the precipice of greatness. Okay, let's just rephrase this. Michael Kopech on the precipice of greatness. Miles saying you're spitting facts here. Alden Gonzalez of ESPN going and saying that the full trade is confirmed, according to sources. Full trade is 3 teams and 7 players. Dodgers get Tommy Edman and Michael Kopech. Cardinals get Erick Fedde and Tommy Pham. White Sox get 3 infield prospects from the Dodgers: Miguel Vargas, Alexander Albertes, and Joel Perez. Again, Vargas has made his major league debut and is no longer a prospect, but is 24 years old. Albertes is 15th, according to Baseball America, in the top 30 Dodgers prospects, and Perez is just behind him at 17. I think, like, if the trade was Fedde for Vargas and Albertes, I think it makes sense. I just don't understand the Cardinals aspect in this at all. What did the Cardinals give up?
That's the part.
Tommy Edman allowed to be traded? Is he healthy?
That's the part that's most surprising of all of this, is how little the Cardinals had to give up to get 2 players who are going to impact them this season and beyond in return. I don't know. that's the most surprising and the hardest for me to wrap my head around, is that that's all that they had to give up. But we've had now multiple people saying that, at least as far as like the players involved, that this is the final deal. But again, until teams have confirmed it, we don't actually know that. But speaking of baseball teams, I need to hop in the car and make my way to go see what the White Sox are up to the rest of this day.
So followed Vinnie and Jared. They're both going to leave now, and they're going to head over to Guaranteed Rate Field. We're not sure if Chris Getz will speak today, but if they do, Vinnie Duber and Jared Willis will have that reaction and Chris Getz's words for you over on X. You can follow Vinnie at Vinnie Duber. You can follow Jared at J Willis, Y's instead of I's, over on X, and you can read their work at allchgo.com. Herb will probably sit here and chat with the comments for just a second, but thank you, Vinnie and Jared. We'll read your great work over at Guaranteed Rate Field later today.
See you guys.
Goodbye.
See ya.
All right, now that the adults are gone, Herb Lawrence. I don't understand this. Tommy Edman has played 8 games in Double-A this year. He is coming back from a rehab assignment, and I understand Tommy Edman has been a proven Major League Baseball player, and the Dodgers are probably very excited to get him. But like, I don't understand how Fedde gets to St. Louis. Like,
you know,
like, so like, I'm just trying to figure out the way that this happens. So do the Sox first trade Fedde to the Dodgers? Like I'm trying to figure out like the actual trade way. Like, can we break this up into a trade that makes sense? Because the White Sox, they're trading with the Dodgers all of these prospects. So are they giving up all 3 of these players for?
No, I think what they did, they traded Kopech to the Dodgers. They traded Kopech to the Dodgers, and it'd have to be Fedde or Pham. They had to trade Pham to the Dodgers. The Dodgers sent Pham to the Cardinals. Cardinals sent Edman back to the Dodgers. That or Fedde, just replace the names, so the Cardinals can have some type of skin in the game, because this is trash if this is the deal. Like, the White Sox got absolutely fleeced. Absolutely took.
But I feel like the Dodgers got took as well.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. Why? Like, unless if I'm a Cardinals fan, I am thrilled.
Oh my God. They didn't give anything up.
They didn't give anything up. And
a player that they
going to
probably
be on
love
the team next year.
Yeah. A player they probably love in Tommy Edman, but they have been surviving and thriving this year without him. So I don't know where their skin in the game is, and whoever that is, John Mozeliak or whoever is the GM right now, man, masterclass. And Chris Getz and Friedman, pantsed. But at least Friedman gets a project in both Edman. Well, not really a project. If he comes back and is the Edman that was in St. Louis, he's going to do well for the Dodgers, and they don't have to keep on giving time to Kevin Biggio playing time. Then they can have the reclamation project, which is Michael Kopech. I mean, didn't Brudisar Gatterall, whatever his name, have similar type of problems than Michael Kopech? Throws hard, couldn't get it over the plate, type of stuff. And now, I mean, I don't know if he's injured or not. He's one of their people. And learning from Blake Trinan out there in the bullpen, I mean, it's going to be a good thing for Michael Kopech to go out L.A., get his mind right, get a new organization with different stuff. Mark Pryor telling him different stuff than what Ethan Katz and Brian Bannister have been doing. So I'm looking forward to the guy thriving out there. And of course, we know he will after he leaves Chicago and become the guy that the White Sox have always wanted him to be. And I'll have no ill will towards the White Sox, except for they traded him for nothing, essentially. Because you got all these players, these minor league players, probably mostly because of Fedde, right?
Yes. So I think what the Dodgers send maybe these prospects to the Cardinals, and then the Cardinals send them Edman. And then I don't get this at all. I don't know. I don't.
Like,
I don't
took
get
this long to trade 3 players off your team.
Was Chris Getz have to sleep on this trade, and then he woke up and was like, "Yeah, this makes sense."
I mean,
like, what is the Cardinals' actual like skin in the game in this?
Wasn't this like kind of hinted by, I think, the tweet you sent out last night by Matthew Trueblood? Like, there's a trade from 3 teams. you can go to sleep, but it's brewing and it might happen before you wake up type of thing. This, I think, was the thing that Matthew Trueblood was intimating that was going to happen. And if this was it, and even if Noah Miller was included, that's still underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why you wait this long to make a shite trade like this. If this is the trade offer, you call somebody else and say, does somebody else want Erick Fedde that can give me better than this? And I'll trade Tommy Pham somewhere else. And I'll trade Michael Kopech somewhere else. But this is a trade just to make a trade, like a panic trade, it looks like to me. Like, oh my God, I got to get something of those 3 guys from the Dodgers. And then the Cardinals send you nothing.
You have a whole other day. You have a whole 28 hours.
Why couldn't you just work with the Dodgers on this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they don't probably need a starter and pitcher, but hell, you could have got the same prospects back if you're sending Pham and Kopech out there to LA.
Our guy Alejandro saying maybe Pham threatened gets to be traded. I mean, maybe. But also, it doesn't seem like Pham had any value. Again, the Cardinals didn't give up anything. So it seems like Pham was just truly a throw-in. Hey, we're going to do you a solid because you signed with us. We'll send you back to a place where you understand. I understand. I think gaming for veterans throws out, why couldn't you just wait at the offseason at this point? I understand not liking the headliner, but the White Sox would just be getting a worse value if they traded Erick Fedde at the offseason. You have less control. You have him for 1 playoff run instead of 2. So, I mean, this is the most that they could have gotten. I think it just goes back to yesterday when we were talking about this, Herb. It seems like Chris Getz might have waited too long, and here they are. We're really just questioning what this trade is, because I mean, I feel like Kopech could have gotten you something. Is he like the Perez piece? Is it like Kopech for Perez, basically? And then I should be looking this as like Vargas and Albertus for Fedde and Pham. I don't even understand the Tommy Edman part in this. It's mind-boggling, this trade. And even as Jared brought up, if there's cash involved in this at all, it still doesn't make any sense for the White Sox. I think people brought up, why is a headliner 24 years old? Again, he has control for 5 years, so you might not think that they'll be competitive in 5 years, but second base has been a complete dark hole for the Sox. If they can turn Vargas into a starting second baseman for the next 5 years, I think they'd be thrilled with that. They're just looking for players to play around them, and I think it seems more likely that Crochet and Robert are going to be held onto. So at least then you have Crochet, Vargas, and Robert at least as major leaguers for next year's team. And Benintendi, can't get rid of him. And Corey Lee. So there you go. Those are your starting 5 for the Chicago White Sox in 2025. Robert, Vargas, Crochet, Corey Lee, and our guy, Andrew Benintendi.
I keep on refreshing the feed on Twitter just to see, if somebody, oh no, how it's been evolving since it got announced initially, the players have been evolving and who it actually is, and nothing's coming and nothing's getting corrected. And I hope that this isn't official, because there's nothing you can say in a press conference when you talk to the media that makes this trade good. The players, let's say these players overvalue themselves and they have become major league players and they're actually good. I guess that's good, but I judge trades on when they were made. Did you get proper value for the players that you traded away? Are you getting that coming back? And if from first blush on these players' names, you didn't get that, and you just threw a bunch of players into a trade, and now you still have at least 4 more players you got to trade away. And I hope they don't do them all in a package like this, because you see what you got back.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this up. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing. We will have a show later on today. Vinny will be joining us from the ballpark. If Chris Getz speaks, we will be able to play all of that for you later on in the show. I do have some comments that I just want to get to. Danny Brichetto saying, as it is now, did Fedde not get a top 100 guy? That is, it's loaded, Danny. Technically, no. Vargas was top 40 last year, but he has graduated and is no longer a prospect. So I think if you were going to include Vargas in a top 100 ranking, I think he would be a top 100 guy, but technically speaking, he is not a top 100 guy. And Diego Romo saying the Rays got a better trade for a reliever than for 3 of the White Sox top trade pieces, which is fair. And I think you even look at that Paredes deal where they get Morel. If you're talking about a headliner, I'd rather have Morel than Vargas.
Yeah, he's young, potential for a 40 home
I mean, they're
run
the same
guy.
age. They're the same age, to be fair. And I think Vargas has more control. But I mean, you look at Morel. Morel has pop. Morel has
Yes.
something that is very exciting. He has a plate approach that seems to be refined. Vargas, it seems like he needs to add a lot of weight, because right now he seems like a bat only guy that's 6'2", 205 and doesn't have enough pop to actually drive the ball. So I mean, he's going to be a weak hitting, slap hitting left fielder? We have one of those.
I'm about to say we have those in spades. We have
This guy has an arm though, so we'll take that.
Oh my God. It's just, it's so bad. Chris Getz, your first trade that you made with the 5-1, I enjoyed. The Dylan Cease trade, enjoyed also. This one is a failure so far.
Yeah, this one's not good. This one's falling into the Dominic Fletcher, Christian Mena camp. This has been an emergency podcast brought to you by Indeed. Listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. That's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Thank you to Jared Willis and Vinnie Duber for joining us. Again, you can follow them, and they'll be at Guaranteed Rate Field with more reaction from this trade. Thank you to Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Eckerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with us and reacting. We will have a show later today. If there is any more fallout or more trades, we will have reaction for you here. So make sure you are hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We will talk to you later tonight, and goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.